But just take a look at this.
Alright, today we're gonna break into Remorse the List, which is a first-person Silent Hill homage with all the psychology and pseudo-sexual Freudian monsters that you would expect from a Silent Hill psychology. What the hell am I looking at? This guy is a caterpillar? Nope, he's a head above the rest. Maybe he's just ahead of the curve. Maybe he's the head of a major turning. I'm gonna bail on this pun because this is going nowhere good. Anyway, so Silent Hill-ish in all its delivery, Remorse the List plays with your typical... what? TVs? No. Your typical barbed wire-laden alternate dimension as you hop back and forth between the psychology in your mind, some dark events, and of course, your dingy subways. That seemed to be a clear homage to the fourth game, Silent Hill The Room, which half of you love and the other half of you can't stand because of those freaking ghosts everybody hates. Game, as we'll dive into the list of monsters, has some very similar looking monsters to those hated ghosts, but on the plus side, they can be taken down with fairly conventional ammo.
Are you okay?
First monster that we'll deal with is Dremel Tool Limpy Guy. Dremel Tool Limpy Guy is fairly deadly, but all he's just a garden variety zombie or zombie nurse. There he goes, face down in the dirt. Then we have, quite similarly, Limpy Scalpel Guy, who kind of moves like somewhere between a Kandarian demon and the aforementioned annoying Silent Hill 4 ghosts. But unlike them, boom, face down in the dirt. Then we get Crawly Faceplanty Guy, who is quite annoying in his speed, but can, similarly be taken down. Some rice mallets. Then there's Paper Cutout Doll Red Guy, who can do some weird pit thing, magic thing. I got nothing. Next is Half Torso Left Hook Guy. Maybe that's right hook. I never could do those left-right inversion things. Now here is your nurse zombie transplant. She's angry, keyboard swingy, faceplant, yelly girl. But we can see the Freudian psychosexualness going on here that should remind most of us of a Silent Hill monster. Her teleports are quite annoying, as is she. But with enough bullets, that clever minx is dead. Lastly, we have just the most lazy monster I've ever met. I like to call him Slacker Steve. Slacker Steve can barely be bothered to get out of his chair. Try harder, Steve. Try harder. Come on, man. You're making the rest of us look bad. Get up. So the rest of the game kind of functions on an open world hub sort of unit. You walk through very typical Silent Hill settings, from hospitals to sewers to the dingy subways to apartment buildings, and of course we have the long celebrated tradition of locked doors. Casual glance at the map might remind anyone of Silent Hill, but it's actually this game's biggest weakness. It doesn't report X's when you touch locked doors, it doesn't even tell you where you are, so it's no better than an old folded up map in an 85 Chevette. Safe to say this guy's heading for trouble. It's still terrible. I'm gonna bail. Aside from my complaints with the map, which is a little tough considering with an open world format you really have to backtrack a lot, and it would be nice to know where in God's green earth you are on that stupid map. The game does hold up well as a first-person Silent Hill homage. You have a whole series of different monsters that are very Silent Hill-ish. You have a lot of locations like old hospitals and old apartment buildings that really harken back to a lot of different Silent Hill games. This guy's complaining that he ain't got no body. No body. No, alright, bailing on that one too. While most of these monsters are pretty high quality, so a few get tedious, like these spitter guys. Let's just rinse and repeat this dodge. Is that finally over? My god. The list doesn't also skimp on the puzzling? Is that the word? Puzzling? Most of them are pretty standard, but I thought they did a good job of making them. There's very few bad things I can say about this game. For an indie horror title, it succeeds both as a first-person shooter and as a Silent Hill homage. Really is worth checking out. Overall, you get this very cool sense of body horror with all these legless victims.
Well, you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dane.
Yes, I know that.
While I miss the misty cities and fog-laden graveyards of Silent Hill, I like that's its own thing. These empty parks and the desolate hospitals and some of the ruined cities offer that same feeling of isolation that does give you the letter of love to the Silent Hill franchise that I clearly think this is intended to do, but it's also confidently its own thing, and I think it's very much worth the price. If you can grab it on sale, it's probably going to be under $10. I think at retail it's only somewhere around $15, and you can find it on either GOG or Steam. And for anyone who loves either horror or Silent Hill or first-person shooters, I think it does have a lot to offer. There wasn't too many drawbacks for me with this game. The map not being functional is probably the biggest thing for me, especially because this game is a bit overwhelming in its scope. Because it's an open world feel, it is very hard to find your way around. Sometimes the world isn't as detailed as I'd like it to be, and you can find yourself stuck, and not knowing exactly where you are on the map really does make a more difficult experience. What was my other qualm about this game? Oh, right.
Whoa! This hall is dangerous.